A dictatorship is a type of government where power is concentrated in the hands of one person or a small group. This authority is often unlimited and does not allow for significant input from citizens or other governing bodies. In a dictatorship, the leader, known as a dictator, typically has complete control over political, social, and economic aspects of the country. Dictatorships are characterized by their lack of democratic processes, such as free elections and freedom of speech. Instead, decisions are made by the dictator or ruling group, often without consulting the public. Dictatorships often arise during times of political instability, war, or economic crisis, as people might support a strong leader to bring order. However, once in power, dictators tend to maintain control through force, propaganda, and suppression of opposition. Dictatorships can take various forms depending on how the power is maintained and who holds it. A military dictatorship is one type where the military controls the government. In this case, military leaders overthrow the existing government, often through a coup, and use force to stay in power. For example, Augusto Pinochet led a military dictatorship in Chile after overthrowing the elected government in 1973. His regime was marked by strict control and human rights abuses. Another form is an autocratic dictatorship, where a single individual holds absolute power. These rulers often maintain their authority through fear, propaganda, and suppression of dissent. A historical example is Adolf Hitler in Nazi Germany, who used his position to control every aspect of life in the country. Similarly, Kim Jong-un of North Korea leads a modern autocracy, with complete control over the government and strict limits on personal freedoms. A third type is a theocratic dictatorship, where a religious leader or group governs based on religious laws. In these systems, political and religious authority are intertwined, and dissent is often framed as opposing the religion itself. An example of a theocratic dictatorship is Iran, where the supreme leader holds significant power and laws are based on Islamic principles. Despite their lack of democratic freedoms, dictatorships sometimes present certain strengths. One advantage is the ability to make decisions quickly. Unlike democracies, where debates and votes can take weeks or months, dictators can enact policies immediately. This efficiency can be useful in emergencies, such as responding to natural disasters or economic crises. For instance, during World War II, leaders with centralized authority in some countries made rapid decisions to support war efforts. Another strength is stability. Dictatorships often avoid the political gridlock seen in democracies, where disagreements between political parties can stall progress. With one leader or group in control, policies and laws are implemented without significant opposition, which can create a sense of order and predictability. Some dictatorships also focus on large infrastructure projects, such as building roads, schools, and hospitals. With complete control over resources and decision-making, dictators can direct efforts toward these developments without the delays of democratic processes. While dictatorships may seem efficient, they come with many significant challenges. One of the biggest problems is the lack of freedom. People living under a dictatorship often cannot express their opinions, practice their beliefs freely, or participate in government decisions. Opposing the dictator can lead to imprisonment, torture, or even death. For example, during Joseph Stalin's rule in the Soviet Union, millions of people were sent to labor camps or executed for opposing his regime. Another challenge is corruption. With power concentrated in one person or a small group, dictatorships often lack accountability. Leaders can misuse resources for personal gain without fear of being voted out of office or held responsible by the public. This often leads to inequality, where the dictator and their allies become extremely wealthy while the rest of the population struggles. Dictatorships also discourage innovation and creativity. Since citizens are often afraid to challenge the status quo, ideas that could improve society or solve problems are suppressed. Additionally, dictatorships can become unstable over time, especially when leaders rely on fear and force to maintain control. When a dictator loses power, the country can descend into chaos, as seen in Libya after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. Finally, dictatorships often face international criticism and isolation. Many countries view dictatorships as oppressive and may impose sanctions or refuse to trade, which can harm the economy and create hardship for citizens.